2 years ago, I lived in a mobile home in the high desert. I rented it from a wonderful family who lived on the property. It was about 10 acres and we lived on opposite sides. I would see them every now and then, but I really enjoyed my privacy. My brother James used to come over all the time, before he moved away like a little bitch. We would watch movies and play video games all night. One night, we were doing exactly that when we heard something during the quiet scene in the movie. It was a coyote. It wasn't that strange to hear coyotes out here. They come around quite often, and their howling is creepy as hell sometimes. They do this thing where it sounds like they're laughing. We paused the movie and were listening. We could only hear one, which I thought was weird, because it's usually at least a few of them. It was really close. As we listened, something felt wrong. Like the coyote was making the noises wrong. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't have blinds or curtains. I have always used old sheets to cover windows. I lifted one and looked outside. It wasn't a coyote at all. It was a naked man. He was really skinny and was hunching over. He ran out of sight. I made sure the door was locked. James asked me what was wrong. I said there's a tweaker or something out there. He said bullshit, because I have messed with him a lot growing up. But he knew I was serious when the door started jiggling. The guy started scratching at the walls in different places all around the mobile home and growling. It was terrifying. I called the landlord, even though it was 1 a.m. He was a little pissed when he answered, but I told him what was going on, and he said he was coming. We waited. After a couple minutes, we heard his truck getting close, and the scratching stopped. Then a gunshot. We went out and thanked him. He said he saw the man take off running and fired a shot to make sure he stayed away. We called the cops, but they just told us there's nothing they can do, but to call if we saw him again. We didn't. I walk my dog almost every day. We have a few places that we go. This day, we drove about 20 miles out of town to a new spot. Well, not really a new spot. Just starting further than we ever had. We mostly walk on an aqueduct. So we parked and started our walk. My dog Angus is a big bull mastiff. He's really nice, but people get scared of him, so I keep him on a leash. Unless we are alone, then I let him off. That's why the aqueduct is so great, because I can see anyone coming from far away. We had walked about a half a mile, and it was a beautiful day. Next to the path on the opposite side of the water is a concrete ditch for runoff or something. Angus loves to go into it and haul ass. I let him and I went down behind him. The ditch starts going downhill and I see Angus standing at the lowest point. I get there and he's acting really weird. There's a tunnel and he's staring into it. It has a lot of graffiti and I can see rocks and dirt for a few feet, but past that it's pitch black. So I tell Angus it's okay and start yelling, "Hello," and making loud noises to show him the echo. He's still just standing there. All of a sudden, I hear a whistle from the darkness, and I can start to see something moving towards us. Angus goes nuts. I'm getting goosebumps writing this. I grab his collar and get the leash on it, and have to pull him away. I see a person coming out of the tunnel. It's a homeless guy or something who has this bizarre smile. His clothes were really baggy, like he's just lost a bunch of weight. Was this asshole living down there or what? I get Angus up on the path and start running back to my car. This guy's following us, but he's staying in the ditch. So when I look, I only see his head with that smile. He never gave up, and I heard him whistle again a few times. He was still coming when we got in the car and sped off. We will never go to that spot again. And I've warned other people on the aqueduct about the weirdo from the tunnel. Hello all. My name is Madison and I live in New York. I've lived here all of my life. In 1997, I went to a party at a coworker's house. I met a really cute guy there. I don't even remember his name, so let's call him John. And before I went home, he asked to see me again. I said yes and gave him my number. We talked a few times in the next couple of weeks. I had been busy on the weekends but was going to be free on the next one, so I let him know. He picked me up on the corner of the block I worked on. We went to a bar and started drinking. We shot some pool and threw some darts. They had a Galaga machine, which is my favorite. Well, it was my mom's favorite, so I made it mine. I started playing and was gulping beer every time I had the chance. John was really not into it, but he was mingling around. I was having a great time. I was so wrapped up in the game. I don't know how long I was playing. I was getting pretty wasted. I looked up to signal the bartender to get another beer. And there were only a few people left. John wasn't one of them. That asshole ditched me. I wasn't upset that he wasn't interested. I was pissed because he was my ride. That's just rude. Maybe he's in the bathroom, I thought. I had a guy check for me. Nope. The bar was closing. I asked if I could use the phone, and the bartender said there was a phone booth around the corner. I stumbled outside and found my way to it. I had plenty of quarters from my date with a Galaga table. I tried to call my friend Becky, but she didn't answer. It was way too late anyways. I found a taxi service in the phone book and they were sending someone. When I turned to leave, I almost peed myself. 6 men were surrounding the phone booth. They had black hoodies on and were wearing those blank white masks. The door was one that folded inward in the center, so I pushed my foot against it. One of them started knocking lightly on the window. I picked up the phone to call 911. Just then I saw a police car drive past the end of the block. Luckily, he saw us. He turned around and drove towards us. The men scattered. I was never so happy to see a cop. He stayed with me and radioed other cops in the area. The taxi showed up right after and I went home. I always wondered if John was behind one of those masks. I was driving to Las Vegas in 2011 to visit an old friend. I like to drive at night because I hate traffic. It was late and I had to go to the bathroom. The next town was too far away and I couldn't hold it anymore. I was hoping to come across a rest area, but I decided to pick an exit instead. I drove past a couple houses and pulled over. It was a wooded area and I hadn't seen any cars, so I felt comfortable. I walked into the woods a little bit and relieved myself. I finished up and was looking around. It was a beautiful night. Moonlight was shining down through the trees. It felt really peaceful. I see a woman in a nightgown deeper in the woods. She's walking away from me. It might seem a little creepy of me, but I started following her. I was curious to see what this lady was doing out here in the middle of the night. I was trying to be quiet, but I wasn't doing a very good job. Even though I was crunching leaves and snapping twigs, she never noticed me, or pretended not to. I thought maybe she was sleepwalking. We came to a small lake. I stayed in the woods, watching. She started walking into the water. When she got waist deep, I said, "Hey lady, are you okay?" She kept going, never acknowledging me. When the water was up to her neck, I yelled, "Lady, what are you doing?" She went under. Her long hair and nightgown were moving on the surface for a second, but they were pulled down soon after. I thought she was messing with me to freak me out, and it was working. I waited. I could see the entire lake, but didn't see anything. Not bubbles, not ripples, not anything. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 5 minutes. Nothing. I stood there for 20 minutes. She never came back out of the water. Even if she drowned, where was her body? I know I followed something that night. I'm not crazy. I continued on to Las Vegas, but I couldn't stop thinking about that woman. I think about her every now and then and wonder what the hell I saw that night. Hey guys and ladies, thanks for watching. If you want me to tell your story, email me at the address in the description. Ripley, we've done another one. What do you think of that? Do you have anything to say? I guess not, 'cause you're a dog, and you can't speak English. I'm sticking with my slogan even though it's not horror-based. Be good to animals, even people. See ya!
Scout, Snammock, Barksbus, Herish.